The reason why I say this is because when you understand that confidential informants are sending people to jail, they are getting people convicted of a crime, which means that once you get convicted of a crime, you can be a slave or you can be forced into involuntary servitude. Welcome back to Altgeld Kingpins, the channel where we talk about confidential informants. So now, on this episode, I want to give you guys attention to the 13th Amendment. Now, I understand that I told you guys that I was going to either use the guidelines or use a snitching book. Those links are still below to the book. But I have to use my phone for this one because I don't know the 13th Amendment right off the top of my head. So I want to just use the phone. And you guys can go on Google, just Google 13th Amendment and the U.S. Constitution to pop up, and it'll tell you Article 1, Article 2 of the 13th Amendment. But I want to read the first article. Well, read the first section, I would say. It says, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. That's section 1. And in section 2 it says, Congress shall have power to enforce this article by appropriate legislation. So, if you guys understand, or if you guys don't understand what the 13th Amendment is, I want you guys to not just go on Google and look up the 13th Amendment. I want you guys to actually go on Netflix and look up the 13th Amendment documentary. That'll give you way more in detail information about the 13th Amendment. But the reason why I'm bringing up the 13th Amendment here is because it says neither slavery nor involuntary servitude unless you've been duly convicted of a crime. So, confidential informants, some have been convicted of crimes. So, when they're convicted of crimes, then by law, they can be slaves. Or they can be forced to do servitude. That's what involuntary means. You know, if you voluntarily do something, you want to go volunteer at a place, you volunteer your time, you're going over there. But if you involuntarily go do something at a place like volunteer work, it'd be like community service. You have to go do that. You involuntarily go over there. They're making you go. So when you guys understand this and mix this up with confidential informants, what I'm saying is confidential informants are somewhat slaves. Basically, that's basically what they are. Because what they're doing is they're involuntarily, some, not all, some people actually go and just say, hey, I'm trying to make some money. But some people involuntarily have to get into this type of work. It's the only way that they can work off their charges. Because if they don't work off their charges, they're going to be charged and there's going to be no leniency and they're going to have more time. So now when you understand that by law, this is okay. So that's why I explain to y'all that confidential informants are a part of society. Because law states that it's okay. This is the law. This is not the 13th Amendment law. This is the 13th Amendment of the United States Constitution, which is the land of the law. So, well, the law of the land, I would say. So with this being in the Constitution, and they're saying that you can actually be a slave and be forced to servitude, which means they in jail, they breaking rocks, they shoveling dirt, they making parts to all type of things. They making toys, license plates, they making all this stuff, and they're making it for 10 cents, 15 cents. How much of a cent that they end up making it for? It's giving them a job basically. So some of them can get a job, or some of them be forced to do a job, but that's in prison. The reason why I say this is because when you understand that confidential informants are sending people to jail, they are getting people convicted of a crime, which means that once you get convicted of a crime, you can be a slave or you can be forced into involuntary servitude. Confidential informants are pushing people into slavery and involuntary servitude through the 13th Amendment. Tell me your thoughts on that, because I'm going to get ready to go a little deeper in the next video, and then I want you guys to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment below. Make sure you start a dialogue. If you understand this information, drop 100. If you don't understand this information, drop 100. If you're just feeling good today, drop 100. It doesn't matter. I want you guys to start a dialogue down there, and as well, I always join in on dialogue and start going back and forth with a lot of you guys to give you guys more understanding of what's going on in society. Because by law, it's okay for this to happen. I just want you guys to understand why. So that's all I got to say for this episode, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
This video is for educational and entertainment use only. The views in this video do not necessarily represent the views or life of Marlon Dixon.